Crimson Rivers, Fury. It doesn't fully hit Dorcas until she's sitting in front of a screen late in the evening, watching with her breath held as the reaping for District 10 ends and the one for 11 begins. Even when the quarterly memorial rule was announced a month ago, it never crossed Dorcas's mind to think, even for a second, that Minerva was involved, or Dumbledore for that matter. It was too cruel, too horrific, for her to even imagine that the supposed good guys would have had a hand in this. There are no good people in war. Dorcas has known that this entire time, so maybe some part of her should have seen this coming, but she didn't. She didn't. There are only 2 victors in District 11. Only 2, and one of them is Marlene. Dorcas didn't know that, because she doesn't know all the victors in each district. She doesn't find out until she's staring at the screen where Marlene and what must be her previous mentor are waiting on the stage, alone. The reaping is a formality, a joke, really. To rub salt into the wound, it's Marlene's name that gets called first. She steps forward, stone-faced. Her mentor, when he is called, stumbles up, visibly drunk, and vomits all over the stage. Dorcas is just sitting there, ears ringing, and she remembers suddenly how Minerva looked at her with such sadness when she said that involvement in war isn't always a choice. She remembers suddenly the way Minerva said things would be quiet until now. She remembers suddenly that Minerva said she can wish to protect Marlene, but if wishes were reality, everyone would be daydreaming. And oh, isn't that the truth? Reality is a bitch, and Dorcas has been daydreaming for too long. She can't anymore. Dorcas is up out of her seat in seconds. It's raining outside. She doesn't care. She runs. Minerva lives halfway across the city from Dorcas, nearly half an hour away in a car, so she isn't making it there as fast as she needs to on foot. The quickest route will be to take the tram, which she does, practically rattling in place the entire ride. People look at her oddly, but she ignores them. The moment she's off, she's running again. Careless and frantic, she sprints without stopping, the pouring rain drenching her until her clothes are sticking to her skin, and her braids are slapping heavily against her back, dripping over her neck and shoulders. She's sopping wet, not dry anywhere, and that's how she turns up at Minerva's door. As soon as she arrives, she bangs her fist against the door on repeat without stopping, her chest heaving as she fails to catch her breath. She'd yell if she could, if she wasn't panting, if she was able to find her voice. The door wrenches open to reveal Minerva with her lips pressed into a thin line. But she doesn't look particularly surprised to see Dorcas at her door. She doesn't say a word. She just stands there and holds Dorcas's gaze. "You knew," Dorcas chokes out, desperately wanting to be wrong, but Minerva's mouth flattens out even more, pinched and wrinkled at the corners. Dorcas heaves out a harsh breath and rears back, whispering in utter betrayal. "You knew?" "Get inside," is Minerva's quiet response. "You'll catch your death standing outside in the cold, soaked head to toe." With that, Minerva swivels on the spot and sweeps off, leaving her door standing open. Dorcas doesn't move for a long moment, her chest still aching, her lungs burning. It takes her a few seconds, and then she tilts her chin up and marches into Minerva's house, which she has never been inside before. Minerva brings her a towel, but Dorcas doesn't take it. She stands there and continues to drip all over Minerva's floor. "Did you know?" Dorcas demands, wanting to hear it. "I knew," Minerva confirms. Dorcas has always looked up to Minerva, has always protected her, has always admired her. When Dorcas joined the Order, it was like Minerva was her mentor, her role model. One thing about Minerva is she isn't someone you fuck with. Dorcas has seen Minerva drop grown men twice her size effortlessly. She knows for a fact that Minerva has killed people. If you know her, then you don't take the idea of attacking her lightly, and Dorcas knows her better than most. So it says a lot that the very first thing Dorcas wants to do is throw herself at Minerva and get violent. She doesn't, because she knows there would be no point. Either Minerva would flatten her in 5 seconds, or Minerva would let her do it without defending herself, which would only leave Dorcas with regrets in the end. And she doesn't know which possibility is worse. What she does know is that she has too many regrets already. She doesn't add another. "Tell me," Dorcas croaks. That you weren't involved in making it happen. At least tell me that you didn't. I gave Riddle the idea, Minerva murmurs, on Albus's orders. Dorcas inhales sharply. Riddle he didn't come up with this. Dumbledore did, and you. I need you to listen to me, Dorcas, Minerva says sharply, stepping forward abruptly to grab Dorcas's arm and start drying her off with a towel. Dorcas just stands there, limp like a rag doll, staring at Minerva in horror. Riddle wanted them dead, do you understand? James and Regulus, and Sirius for collateral too. He fully intended to have them killed when they got home after the victory tour. And you thought this was the solution? There was no proper solution, but we can do something with this. There have been 4 riots across the district since the victory tour. The Order has taken in over 35 deserters. More than 15 Aurors have been killed, and you don't even want to know the death toll sweeping through the districts right now. Dorcas swallows. I still don't understand how forcing the fucking victors to go back is beneficial, Minerva. For fuck's sake, haven't they been through enough? Losing Regulus, James, and Sirius would be a major hit for our side of the war, particularly in the aftermath of their seemingly accidental abilities to invigorate rebels. The loss of them all, it would make those resisting lose steam at best and extinguish every bit of hope at worst. Then we should have saved them. I should have been notified. I would have gotten them to the Phoenix. How the fuck was this the solution? Minerva's lips press into a thin line as she shifts to grab Dorcas's other arm and pat that dry too. What we lack in this war right now is unity, as well as visibility. There needs to be something that angers the people and brings them together. Even the Hallows. We need the Hallows angry too. We need an outcry from everyone to push this war in the right direction. And Albus, well, he knows how to make that happen. Martyrs, Dorcas chokes out. They're nothing but martyrs to him, to you. Dorcas, Minerva says quietly, reaching up to gently dry each side of her throat. I was just following orders. Dorcas shoves Minerva's hand away and takes a step back, glaring at her. Without question, Minerva? Do their lives mean nothing to you? You'll drag these people back in to die just to start a fucking war? To win a war, Minerva corrects sharply. I followed orders I know will help us win this war. A war we have been fighting for a very long time. Do you think these are the first lives that will be lost? You know how this works, Dorcas, and if you weren't leading with your heart, you would see how important it is to save who we can. To save... Dorcas freezes, her heart dropping. You're going to make sure one of them makes it out, Sirius or Regulus? Minerva doesn't reply. Which one? Dorcas hisses, her nostrils flaring. Surely you already know, Minerva says softly. The thing is, Dorcas does know. Of course she does, because she's been fighting in this war long enough to know what will help in the long run, and she's been a Hallow long enough to know what will infuriate them the most. Sirius, Dorcas whispers. He's the one you'll make sure wins, because everyone will be furious that Regulus didn't get to make it back to James. Minerva nods. That, and Sirius's influence on the Hallows. He won't. Dorcas cuts in harshly. Are you fucking stupid? Is Dumbledore? You don't understand how much he loves his little brother. Losing him it'll fucking ruin him. He'll be useless, Minerva. He won't be fighting in a war. You'll be lucky if he doesn't lay down and grieve himself to death. Albus thinks differently, Minerva counters. There's something in her eyes, something knowing and hidden, like shadows draping over a room when lights go out. He thinks Sirius will end this war after losing his younger sibling. Dorcas scowls and snarls. Oh yeah, does he now? And what led him to be so fucking sure of that? Minerva holds her gaze. Because he started it when he lost his. For a second, just one, Dorcas feels her breath hitch with a rush of empathy, thinking about that portrait of the young girl in Dumbledore's office, the young girl who has his eyes, the young girl Dorcas has never met. It warps things in Dorcas's mind for a moment, thinking about Dumbledore's motivation behind everything, because she's never truly known. All she knows is he's the one who killed Grindelwald after winning the 34th Hunger Games. And then he started the Order of the Phoenix. No one knows much else, honestly, but apparently Minerva does. The moment passes quickly, and Dorcas feels all of that empathy drained right out of her, because there is no excuse for this, for what he's doing now. No excuse, not one. And what if he's wrong? Dorcas asks as she takes a solid step back, her jaw clenched. Despite the issue we have with him and the way he does things, Minerva murmurs, he's never been wrong before. Dorcas just scoffs and shakes her head, pivoting on her heel and leaving without another word, slamming the door as she goes, furious because Dumbledore is wrong, and this time Dorcas isn't going to stand back and do nothing. No, not this time. This time she's going to fix it. She's been thinking of it as an option between Riddle and Dumbledore, siding with the lesser of two evils, but there's not very much difference in the evil between them now, and Dorcas refuses to side with either. If they're the only option she's got, then she'll just have to make another one, herself. This time, she's doing it her way. Sirius feels nauseous. There's no way this wasn't fucking rigged, Sirius rasps, staring at Pandora incredulously. Both of them? Bellatrix first, Narcissa right after, Pandora replies softly, her lips tipped down. I'm so sorry. It's a fucking family reunion, Regulus mutters, his head tipped back against the side of the train car, eyes shut. He's been quiet, mostly, and Sirius wants to tell him that he doesn't have to be here for this. That he can go be with James right now, while they both still have time. Not that they won't have more time in the future, because Sirius is obviously going to slaughter everyone to make sure Regulus makes it home. But regardless, Regulus won't even acknowledge him, won't look at him. The one time Sirius dared to speak to him, Regulus pretended he didn't even exist. James has been locked in his own compartment since they boarded the train, but Sirius is sure that if Regulus knocked, James would open that door and let him in. Sirius himself wants to go, but someone needs to be here to find out the important information, and he knows it has to be him. It's better if it's him. He needs to be prepared. The important information, as it were, is the other tributes that Sirius is meant to be slaughtering in the name of keeping his brother alive. And right out of the gate, it's a fucking mess. Bellatrix and Narcissa. Fucking hell, it is a family reunion. Despite being victors from District 6, they are nonetheless residents of District 1 now, so they were integrated into the reaping there. As luck would have it, their names got called, and no part of Sirius believes that's a fucking coincidence. He just doesn't. There's no way. He can't do anything about it, and it's not something he's sure how to feel about. The idea of killing Bellatrix or Narcissa, or both, doesn't exactly put him off. They may be family, but he doesn't know them, not really. They're strangers to him, and for Regulus, he'd kill them without blinking. But he doesn't particularly want to. Maybe it's some stupid flickering family loyalty in the back of his head, but he doubts that. He doesn't want to kill anyone. Bellatrix and Narcissa aren't special, but there is one thing that sets them apart from everyone else. Regardless, they are family, and he can't help but think about Andromeda. He knows he's not coming home to see whatever response anyone will have to what he does in the arena, yet another one, but that doesn't mean he's just all right with the idea of Andy seeing him kill her sisters. All right, what about two? Sirius says with a sigh. Pandora grimaces. Corbin Yaxley and Rabistan Lestrange. Fucking Yaxley, Sirius grumbles. 3. Electo Carroll and Thorfinn Rowell. 4. Majesty Mildred and Asher Rockwood, Pandora says. Sirius takes in a deep breath, then slowly lets it out, setting his shoulders. 5. There was a volunteer, Pandora murmurs, and Sirius holds his breath. Augusta Longbottom volunteered for Frank. Fuck, Sirius whispers, feeling a mixture of relief and distress fight their way through him all at once. Because yes, he's grateful that Frank isn't a tribute again, but the fact that his mother is in there. Sirius would, if it came to it, for Regulus, he'd do what he had to. Fuck. Alice Fortescue was the other one from 5, Pandora continues, and Sirius feels his heart sink. Oh, that's rough. That's that's fucked up. Frank's mother and best friend, neither of which can come home, because Sirius has to make sure the only person who makes it out is Regulus. 7, Sirius croaks. And so it goes. 7 and 8 are just 4 more victors he's never met, which makes it a little easier, honestly. Best if he doesn't know them. And then, at 9, Pandora swallows and mumbles, Dixon Darcy and Emmeline Vance. Emmeline, Sirius says weakly, his eyes sinking shut. No, no, not her. Why did it have to be her? She's his friend. He. District 10 is Mavis and Velvet Oswald. Pandora continues, strained. They're, married. Sirius winces, reaching up to scrub both hands over his face, and then he lowers them and looks at Pandora with a lump in his throat. His stomach is in knots, because some part of him already knows what's coming next. As far as he knows, there are only 2 victors in District 11, but maybe his memory is just, maybe he's wrong, and maybe... Pandora doesn't meet his eyes. Marlene, Sirius chokes out, knowing deep down already, and still feeling a horrible, crushing sensation press in all around him, when Pandora looks at him with tears in her eyes. Marlene McKinnon and Eli Zadish, Pandora rasps. What about... they don't... isn't it just them? Sirius stutters out, his throat feeling tight, like he's being strangled. Who will be their mentor? They'll have an elected spokesperson on their behalf, with the sponsors and such, but that's it. No mentor, Pandora says, swallowing harshly. Sirius's lips twist grimly. Some spokesperson working with the sponsors isn't going to be enough. There'll be a Hallow, and they won't care, not really, so Marlene will be... fucked. He doesn't finish. He snaps his mouth shut, because he realizes all at once that this is, technically, an advantage. As soon as he's had the thought, he physically recoils, like he can flinch back from himself, his stomach turning over with internal disgust. He knows, objectively, that it just comes from what he's always labeled as mentor brain, where he thinks in terms of advantages and disadvantages toward survival. But he's never thought in terms like that about friends. Marlene is his friend, his closest friend after James, basically on the same level as Mary, just in a very different way. Because she knows about being a mentor, understanding what it is to be a victor. Sirius has looked out for her for years now, as much as he could, and she has looked out for him too. The mere idea of hurting her, killing her. Sirius has to take a shaky breath, in and out, just so he won't vomit. Slowly his gaze crawls to Regulus, who still hasn't opened his eyes, like maybe he wants to block the rest of the world out, escape from reality. Sirius stares at him, just stares, and he knows it in his heart that he'll do whatever it takes to get Regulus home. He knows that, and for that, to do that, he thinks he's going to die as a very bad person with a lot of blood on his hands. It should make him reconsider. It doesn't. It takes James longer than it should to work up to leaving the train car he's essentially been hiding in. He'd only wanted one moment, really, just one to catch his breath and smother the harsh ache in his chest every time he saw Regulus out of the corner of his eye. But then he got alone and started fucking shaking, again, and he just couldn't. He couldn't stop, and he couldn't get himself together, and he couldn't figure out a way to shove everything down so he could handle going back out. He does figure it out, eventually, because he needs to go back out there and deal with everything. The anger helps with that. It comes in waves, and it doesn't go away. It just keeps getting worse, growing within him until he can feel it festering away under his skin, bubbling in his veins. This anger. Oh, this anger is unlike anything he's ever felt before in his entire life. He's never been so furious as he is now. It's a harsh, unforgiving, all-consuming rage that has a hold of him, and he doesn't think it's going to let go. He doesn't think he wants it to. Ah, James, there you are, Sirius greets when he makes his way into the train car they're all gathered in together. He's busy writing something down, but Pandora looks up from the notepad and smiles at him. James doesn't smile back. Regulus is sitting in the corner, his eyes shut and his head tipped back. James could easily mistake him for sleeping, except he can't, because he knows what Regulus looks like when he's sleeping. He knows what Regulus looks like right after a kiss he deems too short, his parted lips and pleading eyes, that sharp tongue of his, words harsh and demanding like that can hide the fact that he's begging for another kiss to make up for the brevity of the one before it. He knows what Regulus looks like right in the middle of his peak of pleasure, when he's feeling really good, his slack-jawed, starry-eyed look and flushed skin. He knows what Regulus looks like right before he breaks a promise he was always lying about in the first place, the lack of remorse and veneer of innocence. James missed it. He missed it. All the times he's looked into Regulus's eyes, all the different states he's seen Regulus in, and he missed this. He never saw it coming. A new wave of rage floods him, and he rips his gaze away from Regulus to snatch out of a chair and sit down across from Sirius and Pandora. "What are you writing?" "Listing out all the tributes," Sirius mutters with a frown, his eyebrows furrowed. "Just, getting out there what their strengths and weaknesses were in their games. I don't really remember everyone's, so we'll probably need to rewatch and play all the highlight reels." He pauses and looks up, clearing his throat. "We got the list of who's all been reaped. Bella and Sissa are in the arena with us, James." "Well, would you look at that. Looks like the whole damn family can't manage to stay out of it," James says shortly, and Sirius blinks. James grinds his molars together. "And who is their mentor? Malfoy, I'm guessing." Sirius stares at him and quietly says, "Yes." "He didn't volunteer for his wife?" James asks. "Wonder why. Maybe because he actually has an ounce of respect for her and what she wants. Maybe he even cares about her. Maybe—" "Okay, one, that could not be farther from the truth if you fucking tried," Sirius cuts in. "And two, I'm sensing that you have some things you're clearly upset about." "No, really, you sense that?" James says flatly. Regulus heaves a sigh and mumbles, "Here we go." "No, don't make your sarcastic fucking comments under your breath in your little corner," James snaps. "Either open your eyes and look at what the fuck you did, or keep your opinions to yourself. No, wait, I take it back. When it comes to me, you don't get an opinion, actually, so don't even bother looking." "James," Pandora reprimands him, nearly gasping it like she's never been more shocked in her life. "Oh, you're angry at each other? You're fighting?" Sirius blurts out, face scrunching like the idea of that is genuinely the most confusing thing he's ever heard. But why?" Pandora whines, like she's already fed up, like she just wants all of this to stop being so hard. "Well, tough. It's not that fucking simple." "We broke up. Again," Regulus says dryly, lifting his hand lazily and giving a careless flick of his fingers, and James has to clench the edge of the table to stop himself from instantly losing his shit. Regulus still hasn't opened his eyes. Sirius looks at James in disbelief. "Now is a hell of a time to go about breaking up. James, what the—" "We didn't break up," James interrupts harshly, "because we weren't together. We were never together. He just likes to say things and expects people to go along with it, as if whatever he says is right. Like he can make decisions for people, even when he promises not to. But hey, he's a fucking liar, so—" "Okay, hold on," Sirius says quickly, eyes a little wide as he leans forward on his elbows. He looks a bit pale suddenly, worried. Yes, right, I see the issue now. James, if you're upset with him about volunteering for you, then you have to be upset with me, too." And the thing is, James could be upset with Sirius as well. Maybe a part of him is, but Sirius didn't break his promise to James. No, just Regulus. Maybe it makes him a horrible person, but James just can't. He can't do it, not both. He can't carry all of this, and Sirius, he needs Sirius, especially through what's coming, and it's different. It is. It's different because it wasn't Sirius who actually broke the promise to James. He didn't lie. It's different because there are different things to forgive, because Sirius didn't fuck him, Sirius didn't hold him. Sirius didn't give him little slices of happiness and rip it away with no remorse. Sirius is sorry. James can look at him and see that he is. Regulus wasn't. He isn't. James only had to look into his eyes to see that truth. He remembers suddenly that he hadn't been looking into Regulus's eyes when he made the promise, when he lied. Why hadn't James looked? He should have looked. No, James says, his voice coming out steady. No, I don't have to be upset with you, actually. Just him. I'm just upset with him. I hate what he did. I hate... He stops, the words catching like they're banging on the inside of his throat, awash with the burning acidity of his ever-mounting rage. He flicks his gaze to Regulus, who has finally opened his eyes, looking right at him. James holds his gaze and hopes with everything in him that Regulus sees the truth in James's eyes when he coldly announces, I hate him. You don't hate anything, Sirius argues, sounding strained and a little desperate. Stop it, James. Come on, please, don't do that, yeah? Regulus, he didn't mean that. He's upset is all, and he's... I hate you, James states, talking over Sirius as he looks at Regulus. I didn't get it before, how anyone could ever hate someone they once claimed to love, but now I do. Isn't it ironic, Regulus? I understand now. There's a heavy, ringing silence on the train, and James can hear the rush of his own blood in his ears, the awful thud of his heart against his ribs. He's so angry, he doesn't even properly know what hatred is, but it has to be this. It has to be whatever the fuck happens to him every time he looks at Regulus and feels like ripping the world apart. Like he's being ripped apart with it. Like everything is just... It's just... Regulus abruptly pushes to his feet, slow about it. He stands to full height, never breaking James's gaze, and there's something about his eyes that only makes James angrier. They're hollow. So fucking hollow. He doesn't even speak. He just turns to walk away without saying anything else, and James lets him go. Fighting every urge to call him back, to follow right after him, James stays there, raging, and lets him go. You've been crying, Dorcas says. Regulus presses his lips into a thin line. No. My love, you don't have to talk about it. Of course not. But you also don't need to lie, Dorcas tells him, cupping his chin very gently between her fingers as she does his makeup. He has no idea what she's going with this year, honestly, but he leaves her to her whims at this point, knowing better than to doubt her. He's not going to question Dorcas's stylist skills. As soon as they got into the Hallow, he and Sirius had been ushered off as per usual, to get presented for the introduction parade. The reintroduction parade, more accurately. Regulus had to wait for a bit, seeing as he was alone with a fucking bathtub, and then Dorcas showed up and started chatting with him while standing in the corner, her back to him, working on some sort of design at her desk while he bathed. After that, she left again, then came back, left again, then came back. It took Regulus some time to realize that she was running between him and Sirius, which baffled him. She's their stylist, yes, but there should be a design team to help assist her in any way she needs. Regulus doesn't doubt that there are countless people who would sell at least one internal organ just to work alongside her, especially this year. Maybe it has to do with Gideon and Fabian. Maybe she misses them. Either way, Dorcas has always been frighteningly good at just seeing through everyone. Regulus, who has indeed been crying a lot today, really doesn't have a leg to stand on when she's staring directly into his eyes and likely seeing the evidence. His shoulders slump and he sighs. James hates me, Regulus whispers, and it takes everything within him, all of his effort, not to immediately burst into fucking tears as soon as he says it. Oh, he's pathetic. Dorcas laughs. She just laughs, and Regulus can't stop himself from rearing back to stare at her incredulously, because that's just fucking rude. Like, yes, he's aware he's a no-good, terrible hypocrite who really should have seen this coming, because, of course, the universe would take a chance to turn these tables on him as a form of adequate karma, but she should at least pretend to be a little sympathetic to his plight. "Oh, don't look at me like that," Dorcas snorts, and gently reaches out to cup his chin a second time. "James doesn't hate you. I don't know who told you that." "James did," Regulus says flatly, and Dorcas blinks. "He told me that, Dorcas, right to my face, like, purposefully." Dorcas doesn't laugh this time. She looks so confused, her eyebrows pinching together. "That's just not possible. That man is so in love with you that it's mental, Regulus. He's gone on you. I mean, so far gone that there's no getting him back." "Yes, well, it seems like he went so far that he came back out on the other side," Regulus mumbles. "And the worst part is, he knows all about that. He knows what it is to love someone so much that you hate them, want someone so much that you despise them, need someone so much that you hurt them. He knows exactly what it is to look at someone you love in the aftermath of a horrible loss and feel so much, too much, all the pain and grief and pure fury, and it leaves you unsure how to make out the love through it all. He knows all too well. It's fucking devastating. It's nothing less than Regulus deserves, yes, but it is nonetheless devastating. It devastates him. He hates it when James is angry with him. He doesn't want James to be angry with him. He doesn't want James to hate him. He wants James to smile at him and hold him and have him right up until he can't anymore. That makes him a huge hypocrite, he knows. And this really is karma. He spent years making James feel like this, feel the way Regulus is feeling right now. "I know that this is hard on all of you," Dorcas murmurs, her throat rising and falling on a harsh swallow. She gently sweeps her thumb over his jaw. It's going to be okay, Regulus. It will be. I promise it will." "A bold promise," Regulus whispers, lips tilting up sadly. Dorcas looks him right in the eye and says fiercely, "Yes, and it's one that won't be broken." Regulus doesn't respond, because he knows all about promises made that only end up broken in the end. He understands that she's upset too. One look at her makes that obvious. Still, this isn't okay, but if it's easier for her to believe it will be, he'll let her. Reality will catch up to her soon enough. It always does. After Dorcas finishes with his face, she leaves him to get dressed alone with the promise that he would wait after so she could come back and make sure everything was right. He can tell there's a difference in her style choices this time, rather than last time. He doesn't look innocent, like an angel he was presented as before, instead looking, well, quite dangerous. Regulus didn't know he could look dangerous. He stares at himself in the mirror, baffled, but his blank look of disbelief only makes him look meaner. He's all sharp edges and leather, dark colors, and eye-catching materials, a walking weapon meant to draw attention and invoke something. Fear, he thinks. He's supposed to invoke fear. Regulus looks in the mirror and realizes that he looks like the epitome of "do not fuck with me." The more he stares, the more he likes it. He looks untouchable. He looks like a threat. Again he hears Andromeda's words in his head. "Make them pay for it," she said. Oh, he will. That's a promise he intends to keep. Sirius squints at himself in the mirror, lips pursed. Dorcas stands behind him, awaiting judgment, and Sirius is likely more opinionated about fashion and such than, well, James and Regulus were, so he's a bit of a harsh critic. He's trying to find some way to put this politely, but he's not entirely sure if there's any possible way he could. "I just don't see the vision," Sirius admits weakly, swiveling to face her. "Like, no offense, but I mean, it's a sure sign of talent, I suppose, managing to make me look—" "Unflattering?" Dorcas suggests, lips twitching. "Dorcas, I look like shit, babe," Sirius says bluntly. "Fucking hell, what did you do to me? How did you even manage this? Do you know how sexy I am?" Dorcas coughs around a laugh, eyes bright. Yes, Sirius, I'm quite sure how sexy you are hasn't been missed by anyone, but I present you with this. She crosses her arms and raises her eyebrows at him. Why the fuck should they get to drool over you, hm? That's what they want, you know? They want to see you come out there looking like pure sex, something to ogle, something to steal their breath. And no. No, fuck that. They don't get that. Let them be disappointed. That's the goal. Sirius stares at her, startled. He hasn't thought about the implications of his position as a tribute this year, if he's honest. The performance he has to put on, so to speak. It strikes him suddenly that he's not really required to lean into his usual role for anyone's life but his own, and if he so desires, he doesn't have to lean into it at all. It's a strange positive to find in all this mess, but leaving the Hallows disappointed? Yes, he likes the idea. He likes that he has a chance to subvert expectations and take something away from them, something they never truly had, though they have always believed that they did. And he let them, but no more. Not this time. Sirius turns back to examine himself in the mirror again. He genuinely looks plain, or as plain as he can get, as plain as he's ever been in the Hallow. His hair is in a low ponytail that mostly hides the length and waves in his collar, taking the volume of it from his face. There's no makeup except for what Dorcas added to make him look, well, more tired, honestly. He's in bland colors, and there's not an inch of tantalizing skin on display for anyone to see. He's in layers to take away from his usual shape, like a silhouette, hazy around the edges and indistinguishable so no one could properly apply him to a fantasy. It's just, he looks muted, like someone not trying to leave an impression, like someone who can't leave an impression. And that, he thinks, will leave an impression all on its own. No, okay, you've got a point, Sirius murmurs, blinking at his reflection. I'm seeing the vision. Brilliant, Dorcas declares, delighted. Then, when you go out there, don't smile. You do truly have a lovely smile, and it will light up your face and ruin the vision we're going for. Sirius reflexively smiles, unable to help it, and he sees the difference immediately in the mirror. The way his grin does have an effect, how it transforms him, the power it holds. He's never really thought about it. Well, he says it often enough, but really, he is truly an attractive bastard. If he wasn't him, he'd be so into him. The thought makes him chuckle. For someone uninterested in being ogled, he's quite vain. Yeah, no, don't do that, Dorcas says with a snort. I won't, Sirius assures her, still grinning as he faces her again. Just thank you for this. It means a lot, more than you could ever know. Dorcas's face softens. I'm glad. Now, come on. I need to go collect your brother, and then I'll see you off to the carriages. Sirius follows her out, then stands in place and twiddles his thumbs lazily while waiting, his mind turning to James again. He's off with Pandora at the moment, who is giving him a crash course in all things mentor. She'll be holding his hand through a lot of this, honestly, but Sirius has tried to give him as much advice as he could on the train. But, well, that was hard to do when James is fucking furious, just the same as Regulus. They're not okay, none of them. It's a shit situation, and Sirius knows how fucking hard it is to watch two of the people you love most in this world be in this. He did it only last year, and very nearly didn't make it through. James is stronger than him, so he will. He has to, because the idea of anything else is something Sirius simply won't accept. The thing is, James is very, very scared right now. He's freaking the fuck out, and Sirius can't even blame him. It's not as if he handled it well when it was him, and circumstances were a lot different then. Circumstances are a lot different for James now, especially in regards to Regulus. But, and maybe this is cruel, even if it's reality, he's just going to have to push past it and get the fuck over it, because if he doesn't, Sirius knows that James will regret it. He'll regret every moment he spent angry and hurt instead of cherishing the time he could have had. He'll regret all the harsh words he said, and he'll regret all the unspoken truths that he held back, as if that could protect him from the pain of it all. He'll regret all the time he wasted and all the opportunities missed. The sound of footsteps draw him out of his own head and makes him look up, and the moment he sees Regulus, he's fucking offended. He gapes at Dorcas in disbelief. Wait, why the fuck does he get to look cool? Why couldn't we be boring together? Sirius blurts out. Regulus does look cool. There's a whole I will murder you look that Dorcas has going for him right now. That's not fair. Sirius wants to look like he'd murder someone. This is bullshit. Sirius, Dorcas says, amused. Remember what we talked about? If anything, the blatant difference between you two will only leave the Hallows more disappointed. Sirius pauses, thinking about that. Then he nods. Right, no, that makes sense. If I actually looked cool, then they'd all be looking at me and wouldn't even notice him anyway. Trying to goad Regulus into an argument, light bickering, or even a full shouting match does not work. Regulus doesn't look at him, doesn't speak, doesn't react at all. It's like Sirius isn't even here, like he really is dead already. For a moment, Sirius looks at Regulus with a lump in his throat, and remembers one of the few memories between them he actually still has. When he was young, when they both were, he tried to bury Regulus in the backyard once. He'd found out that dogs tend to hide or bury things of value to them to protect it from harm, and being so young, he thought it was a brilliant idea to do the same. So, he took what he valued most and intended to protect it. All these years later, and what has changed? Everything, and not very much at all. Remus is doing a terrible job of keeping his excitement down to a calmer level. He's so fucking ecstatic that he's shaking, even just standing in the corner of the room with his head ducked, his hands behind his back. Some part of Remus really didn't think he'd get assigned to the suite again. It's a bit of a risk, but also not really. Someone would have to care enough to look into it, and as a servant, no one cares unless he's failing to be a proper one. And yeah, he is failing at that, shamelessly and with glee, but no one knows that. Still, it's very rare that servants get assigned to the same things twice, so whatever Sirius did to make this happen, well, it worked. Remus is practically vibrating while waiting for Sirius to get in. Maybe that's unfair, and even a bit cruel, because Sirius will be as busy this year as he was last. He'll have 2 new tributes to look after as well, though Remus is quite sure that it won't be as emotionally taxing as last year, when it was his brother and best friend he had to take care of, living with that fear that he'd lose either of them, or both. Regardless, Remus cherishes every moment he gets with Sirius. He'll be happy just to be in the same room with him, honestly. There's no expectation that Sirius will come running and fling himself into Remus's arms immediately, because he'll likely want to explain to his tributes about how servants are treated within the safety of the suite. It's also the quarterly memorial, which Remus doesn't know very much about. He heard the guards in Azkaban talking about how fucked up the rule was, and it had admittedly made his heart pang just to think about whatever torment Sirius will have to endure this year. And Pandora, and whatever tributes arrive, it's all shit for everyone. The sound of the door opening makes his heart jump, and he can't stop himself from looking up, waiting with bated breath for that moment where he'll get to see Sirius again. Except the first person that steps inside is James. Remus's mind goes blank. They come in, one right after the other, James first, leaning on his cane and moving swiftly despite that, wearing a scowl that Remus honestly didn't know the muscles in his face knew how to make. Pandora next, and Regulus right behind her, his shoulders tense. The last to come in is Sirius, and he instantly looks right at Remus, but the look on his face, it's all wrong. Something is wrong. James and Regulus weren't supposed to be here. Remus can only stand there, frozen, not grasping what's going on, or what any of it means. James doesn't even greet him. He just marches through the room and down the hall, a door slamming in the distance hard. It makes Regulus flinch. Oh, this is bad. Whatever it is, it's bad. Slowly, almost dreading it, Remus reaches up to peel his mask off as soon as the door closes. For a moment, no one even moves or says anything. Pandora is looking at him with her eyebrows pinched together, so much pity and sympathy and pure, unadulterated sorrow in her eyes that it's sincerely scaring the fuck out of him. Regulus fails to meet his eyes. Serious, though. He takes a deep breath, then slowly lets it out. Despite who he's arrived with, he doesn't run and throw himself at Remus. He just approaches him slowly, and with every step, his eyes seem to get brighter. Tears. There are tears in his eyes, building up as he comes closer. Hi, Sirius chokes out when he comes to a stop in front of him, and that's when the tears start to fall. Sirius, what's... Remus halts, a lump in his throat making it impossible to speak, and there's some part of him that's more afraid than he's been in a long time, that doesn't want the answers anyway. I thought maybe you would have heard, Sirius croaks, but from the look of you, I'm assuming you haven't. Heard what? Remus whispers, fucking terrified, so much so that his voice is shaking, and Sirius doesn't answer. Remus's heart is racing, and he doesn't know why. Come on, Sirius murmurs, clearing his throat and holding out his hand. We should go talk, alone. Remus shakes his head reflexively, flexing his fingers around his mask. Just tell me, Sirius, what is it? Can you give us a moment, please? Sirius asks softly, swiveling his head to look at Regulus and Pandora, both of which dutifully making graceful exits without complaint, leaving Remus and Sirius alone. Sirius focuses on him again, inhaling deep and exhaling slow. The quarterly memorial. This year the rule was the tributes would be reaped from the existing victors in each district. So a victor could become a tribute again. Remus stares at him, needing a second to wrap his mind around that, to really understand what it means. It takes him a moment, then it hits him, and his heart drops. His mask along with it as it clatters to the floor when his fingers go slack. Oh, Sirius, I'm so sorry, Remus breathes out, reaching for him immediately, and Sirius releases a harsh, choked noise the moment he folds himself into Remus's arms. Remus holds him, cupping the back of his head and squeezing his eyes shut as grief takes root in him. It's not fair, Sirius whimpers. I know, Remus croaks, feeling strangled, barely able to talk. Later, he's sure his anger will hit him, because Sirius is right, it's not fair. But for now, he's just really fucking sad. It's horrible. It's absolutely awful that after everything Sirius went through last year, he has to do it all over again. He has to watch his brother and best friend go back into the arena. Remus pulls back to cup Sirius's face, meeting his eyes. I'm aware that it doesn't fix anything, but I'll be here with you the entire way. I'll take care of you, okay? It's wrong that they're going back in, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sirius's expression freezes for a second, then shifts swiftly and all at once. It sort of collapses into heartbreak, a certain brand of heartbreak that Remus has never seen before. Remus, Sirius says gently, and it's that. It's the look on his face, and it's his eyes, and how gentle he's being with Remus right now. Even before he opens his mouth to elaborate, that's what does it. It's me. I'm going back. Remus's hands fall away from Sirius's face as he steps back, everything around him and in him seeming to go crashing down, crumbling. The creation of all things being crushed. It feels like something inside of Remus curls up into a tight ball and whines. It feels like a howling wind sweeps through him and throws all that he is against the walls of himself, leaving behind a mangled, broken mess. "I won't break, you know," Remus had told Sirius once. It was a lie. He didn't know, but it was a lie. "Just wait, I've barely gotten my hands on you yet," Sirius had replied, and he was right. Because here Remus is, now, left in shambles. It doesn't hit Remus until this exact moment, but there was safety in Sirius, a sense of security that he foolishly believed in, wholeheartedly. No matter what they did, Sirius was never in danger. The risk never truly applied to him, not really. If anything ever went wrong, Sirius would most likely scrape by, evade death and torture and worse. The threat of losing him was never a genuine threat, past not getting to see him again. But he'd always known, at the very least, that Sirius would be safe. Remus was never supposed to live in a world where he would be at risk of losing Sirius to death. Remus was never supposed to live in a world where he could outlive Sirius at all. "Remus, please say something," Sirius rasps, staring at him with wide, glittering eyes. "Give me something." They could never have everything, and now they're losing the only something they ever got to have. Because Remus has no doubts, not even one, that Sirius is going into that arena with his brother or best friend, either one, with absolutely no intention of making it back out. They were never supposed to be nothing. Helplessly, Remus lifts his hand to cover his mouth and smother the sob that tries to climb the walls of his throat, and his eyes ache. Everything aches. He keeps moving back until he bumps right into the wall, and he can only stand there, eyes squeezing shut, as the tears spill over. A horrible, secretive part of him wishing that Sirius never touched him at all. Tragically inevitable and woefully pointless. He said that about them once, too. He knew. He really did. He just wishes he had been wrong.